There's a silent battle that most men fight, but few ever speak about. It happens behind closed doors, in the quiet moments of boredom, stress, or loneliness. A habit so normalized, it slips beneath the radar of awareness. But what if this habit, this escape, is quietly stealing your strength, your focus, and your sense of purpose? We live in a world that worships pleasure but forgets discipline. A culture that encourages indulgence but ignores the cost. Yet buried beneath the noise of modern life lies an ancient truth taught by warriors, emperors, and philosophers alike. The man who cannot control his desires will never be free. This is not a video about shame. It's a conversation about power, the kind of power that comes from self-mastery. And if you've ever felt tired, unmotivated, or stuck in a loop you can't explain, you're not broken. You're just disconnected from the fire within. This is your invitation to reclaim that fire. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we'll explore how one simple shift can change everything. Not just your habits, but your identity, your direction, and your future. Let's begin. Part 1. The hidden cost of a seemingly harmless habit. There's a moment, quiet and personal, when a man finishes the act, and for a fleeting second, he feels a kind of relief. But almost immediately after, the silence sets in. The screen turns black. The rush fades, and he's left with nothing but a vague hollowness. Not always guilt, not always shame, just emptiness. It's in that space, right after the pleasure, that the truth begins to whisper something is off. And yet, millions of men return to it day after day, not out of passion or necessity, but out of habit, out of escape, and worse, out of unconscious addiction. What if the habit that seems so private, so harmless, is quietly sapping your strength, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually? I'm not here to judge or moralize. I'm here to challenge a narrative that's become all too convenient, that frequent masturbation is normal, healthy, and without consequence. Because the Stoics, men who built empires with their discipline and shaped philosophy with their clarity, would argue otherwise. They didn't have dopamine charts or brain scans, but they understood something we often forget today. When pleasure is consumed without purpose, it becomes poison. Let's be real. You've probably felt it. That post-release fog, the drop in motivation, the quiet voice telling you that you could have used that time and energy for something better. Maybe it started in your teens as a curiosity, but now it's a routine, a crutch. And every time you indulge in it, your body gets a quick hit of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. But the reward is unearned. You didn't fight for it. You didn't create something. You didn't connect with anyone. You got a high without the climb. And that's where the danger lies. Because when you train your brain to expect rewards without effort, your drive begins to erode. The same energy that could have gone into writing that book, hitting the gym, building that business, talking to that person you admire, all of it gets flushed out in a few minutes behind a locked door. Seneca, one of the great Stoic minds, said, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." And whether we want to admit it or not, that's what this habit can become: enslavement. You think you're in control because you choose when to indulge. But what if it's actually choosing you? What if your mind, trained by years of instant gratification, now automatically turns to release. Every time you feel discomfort, you're stressed, you seek escape, you're bored, you reach for stimulation, you're lonely, you self-soothe. But the more you repeat this pattern, the more you hardwire your mind to equate pleasure with avoidance, not accomplishment. And the result is a generation of men with big dreams but low energy, high ambitions but shallow focus. They read about greatness, watch motivational videos, maybe even journal about their goals. But when it's time to act, their momentum is already spent in secret, in silence, behind closed doors. And society tells them it's fine, just a natural urge. Better to do it than act out. Right. There's some truth to that. But partial truth is not the whole truth. Because what's missing from that message is what's lost in the process. We don't just lose fluid. We lose clarity. We lose urgency. We lose self-respect. And not because the act is inherently evil, but because of what it symbolizes, a man choosing the easy road over the meaningful one. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how many of us give that power away daily to our most primitive urges, acting not as the emperors of our own thoughts, but as slaves to a few fleeting minutes of relief? The consequences are subtle, which is what makes them so dangerous. You don't wake up one day feeling completely broken, but you might start to feel foggy, lazy. You procrastinate more. You doubt yourself more. You stop making eye contact. Your conversations lose spark. Your relationships feel distant. You're less present, less alive. And the worst part is, you might not even connect the dots. You might never suspect that the very habit you think is helping you release pressure is the same one dimming your inner fire. It becomes invisible sabotage, death by 1,000 tiny surrenders. I've seen this story unfold too many times. A man with potential, bright, creative, capable, can't seem to get anything off the ground. He starts something, gets excited, then fizzles out. Rinse, repeat. He blames his job, the economy, bad luck. But the real thief of his energy is hidden in plain sight. It's not that he's lazy, it's that he's drained before he even begins. He's spent his best energy on nothing, and now has nothing left for what matters. And when I talk to these men, it's not about shame, it's about grief. Grief over time lost, over confidence never fully formed, over a version of themselves they know exists but can't seem to access. That version, the one who walks with purpose, speaks with clarity, radiates presence, is not dead. He's just buried under years of numbing, of distraction, of chasing fleeting highs instead of building lasting fulfillment. The ancient Stoics didn't believe in repression. They believed in redirection. They didn't say pleasure is bad. They said, pleasure without discipline leads to ruin. They knew that true freedom, real, lasting inner strength comes from mastering the self. And if you can't say no to yourself in private, how will you ever stand firm when life tests you in public? If you crumble in the quiet, you will collapse in the chaos. That's why this conversation matters. Because the stakes are not just about sex or stimulation, they're about sovereignty. Every moment you resist an urge is a vote for your future. Every time you hold the line, you rewire your brain to pursue higher aims. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming powerful. Not in the way of domination or suppression, but in the quiet, grounded strength of a man who is no longer ruled by his cravings. And here's the beautiful twist: when you stop draining yourself, you start discovering yourself. You'll notice more energy in your voice, more stillness in your mind, more intention in your actions. That same force that once pulled you toward distraction now fuels your mission. And that, my friend, is the essence of Stoic mastery: not to escape life's temptations, but to rise above them with clarity, conviction, and calm. Part 2. Stoic Wisdom for the Modern Man: How to Reclaim Control and Redirect Desire. When you begin to see the truth behind the habit, the way it slowly chips away at your strength, you're left with a question that's both uncomfortable and urgent. What now? It's not enough to simply stop. You need to replace. You need to rebuild. Because nature doesn't tolerate a vacuum. If you remove something without filling the space, that space will fill itself with the same old patterns, the same old distractions. The Stoics knew this. They didn't just advocate restraint, they championed redirection. They taught us how to take base impulses and forge them into higher pursuits. And in a world that pulls men in 100 directions at once, there has never been a better time to return to those ancient principles. It begins with the foundation of all Stoic practice: self-discipline. Not the iron-fisted, boot camp kind, not the shame-based punishment that some mistake for strength. No, real discipline, the Stoic kind, is about choice. It's about freedom. Epictetus said it best: "No man is truly free who is not master of himself." That line isn't poetry, it's a map. Every time you resist the urge to indulge, you're not depriving yourself. You're choosing the long term over the short term. You're building the kind of inner muscle that makes everything else in life easier. Because when your mind knows that you can say no to pleasure, it also starts to believe that you can say yes to purpose. And that changes everything. Let's be honest. Most modern men don't struggle because they lack talent. They struggle because they leak energy. They lose the battle before the day begins, scrolling, distracting, releasing energy that should have been channeled into growth. And it's not that they don't care. It's that they've forgotten how to aim. That's where the second Stoic principle comes in: purpose. You need a reason that's bigger than your urges. You need something that makes you feel alive again, something that demands your attention and earns your commitment. When your life is filled with meaningful pursuits, your cravings lose their power. It's not about willpower anymore. It's about alignment. Think of it like this. If you woke up tomorrow and had to prepare to lead a team, build a company, run a marathon, or even raise a child, you'd instinctively begin to conserve your energy. You'd think twice before giving away your focus to empty pleasure, not because someone told you not to, but because you'd feel it deep in your bones. I'm building something. I need to protect my strength. That's what purpose does. It gives you a future to fight for. A mission that makes momentary relief seem small and meaningless. And this is where most people get stuck. They try to quit the habit without giving themselves a reason to grow. They create space, but not direction. And in that emptiness, the old desire creeps back in. Because desire never dies, it just waits for the next opening. That's why the third Stoic principle is so essential: transmutation. The art of redirecting energy, not repressing it. The Stoics may not have used the word sexual transmutation, but they lived it. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in his journals about rising above the flesh, training the mind to command the body, not the other way around. It wasn't abstinence for pride, it was clarity for purpose. In more recent times, thinkers like Nikola Tesla took this idea to the extreme. Tesla, perhaps one of the most brilliant minds in modern history, famously remained celibate his entire life, not out of guilt, not out of shame, but because he believed his creative energy was sacred. He saw his sexual energy not as something to spend, but something to store, to convert into ideas, into inventions, into progress. You may not want to follow his path exactly, but the principle remains: when you stop wasting your energy, you start awakening your power. And this is not just spiritual or philosophical, it's biological. The same force that drives sexual desire can be rerouted into ambition, into movement, into learning. Have you ever noticed how sharp your thoughts feel when you've had a few days of clear, focused living? How your confidence returns when you stop numbing yourself? That's not a coincidence. It's physiology working with philosophy. When you practice restraint, you raise your energy. When you raise your energy, you elevate your life. But here's the uncomfortable part: it takes time. You won't feel the full power of this shift in a day or two. In fact, the first few days can be the hardest. You'll feel restless, irritable. You'll hear the voice in your head whispering, "Just once. You deserve it." And that's where the real transformation begins, not in avoiding discomfort, but in learning how to walk through it with calm. The Stoics trained their minds to endure more than they wanted to, because they knew that comfort wasn't the path to greatness, resistance was. Growth lives just beyond the urge, right on the edge of your old patterns. That's the doorway. And every time you step through it, you grow stronger. Let me be clear, this isn't about becoming a monk or hating yourself or having desires. It's about learning to live with those desires in a way that honors your future, not just your impulses. You're not broken for having urges. You're just untrained in how to wield them. The Stoics didn't want us to be numb. They wanted us to be free. And freedom doesn't come from avoiding temptation. It comes from transforming it. So the next time you feel the pull, the craving, the restlessness, the voice that says, why not pause? Not with shame, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what could I build with this energy? What could I become if I stopped giving away my fire for nothing in return? Because inside that question is a path, not easy, but noble, and deeply needed in today's world. The man who can delay gratification, who can walk away from easy pleasure, who can convert desire into drive, he is a rare man, a man forged, not born. And the Stoics knew this. That's why they taught it. And that's why you're here, not just to listen, but to become. Part 3. Becoming the man you were meant to be. The final breakthrough. Picture this. You wake up in the morning and you're not dragging your feet. Your mind is sharp. Your body feels lighter, stronger, more present. There's no fog, no shame lingering from the night before. Just clarity, purpose, energy. This is what life begins to feel like when you stop giving your power away to things that do nothing for your future. It's not just about quitting a habit. It's about remembering who you are when you stop numbing yourself. Most men don't even realize what they've lost until they step away from the cycle. And when they do, it hits them all at once. the stillness, the control, the confidence, that natural masculine fire that's been buried under years of dopamine spikes and quiet self-sabotage suddenly rises to the surface. And with it comes something even deeper, self-respect. You no longer see yourself as weak or out of control. You begin to look at yourself in the mirror and see someone who is capable of anything, because he finally learned to govern his own mind. And that's the turning point, not just the absence of guilt or the gain of energy, but the realization that you've reclaimed sovereignty over yourself. Because at its core, this journey isn't about sex or discipline or even dopamine. It's about identity. It's about stepping into the role of a man who is no longer ruled by his lower instincts, but led by his highest vision. A man who leads himself first before he leads anything else. The Stoics called this inner mastery. They believed that true freedom came not from indulging every whim, but from learning how to choose what serves your character. They weren't trying to suppress life, they were trying to elevate it. They saw that most people lived like slaves, chained not by the world, but by their own desires. And they gave us a roadmap out, not through brute force, but through inner alignment. When you leave behind the empty pleasure, you begin to fill that space with something more permanent. Maybe you start lifting weights again, not for vanity, but to feel alive in your own body. Maybe you begin reading real books that stretch your mind, feed your spirit, sharpen your understanding. Maybe you stop tolerating half-lived days and start building something real, a career, a craft, a legacy. And maybe, just maybe, you look people in the eye with presence again. You speak with gravity. You move with direction, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you're rooted. You've remembered your value, and others can feel it even if they don't understand why. The shift becomes visible, not flashy, but solid. Your voice gets deeper, not in tone, but in truth. Your walk becomes steadier, your gaze less frantic. You stop fidgeting, explaining, apologizing. You take up space not from ego, but from calm. Because now you're no longer hiding from yourself. You're walking beside yourself with respect. And then comes the next gift: focus, real focus. The kind that lets you sit down and get lost in your work. The kind that helps you listen longer, love deeper, and show up fully. Because your brain isn't being hijacked anymore. Your energy isn't leaking through the cracks. It's all here collected, centered, available. And with that, something incredible happens: momentum. You start building wins, small at first, then bigger. Days stack into weeks, weeks into confidence, confidence into action. And eventually, the man who once struggled to get out of bed now becomes the man who others look to for strength. Not because he's perfect, but because he's anchored, grounded, clear. And that clarity attracts better everything, better relationships, better opportunities, better decisions. Because when you respect yourself, you raise your standards. You stop chasing people who don't value you. You stop tolerating chaos disguised as fun. You stop making excuses for the parts of your life that don't align. And when temptation comes back around, and it will, you're no longer afraid of it. You don't run. You don't rationalize. You meet it with presence, with choice. And that's when you know you've grown. Because it's no longer about what you avoid. It's about what you pursue. You're not just free from a habit. You're free to become the man you were meant to be. And that man doesn't need applause. He doesn't need validation. He's not obsessed with controlling the outside world because he's already mastered his inner one. He is the embodiment of what the Stoics described centuries ago, a man of virtue, of clarity, of calm power. A man who understands that life is too short to waste on momentary release when your purpose is calling. A man who uses every drop of his energy to build something that outlives him. So now, the question comes back to you. Will you stay stuck in the loop, justifying a habit that keeps you small, or will you break the chain once and for all and rise not as an act of rebellion, but as an act of remembrance? Will you choose the discomfort that leads to freedom, or the comfort that leads to decay? There is no judgment here, only a mirror. And the man you see staring back at you, he's not broken, he's not weak, he's just been asleep. But now he's waking up, slowly, powerfully, unapologetically. So take the first step, not next week, not next month, now. Let this be the moment you decide to stop being owned by a momentary urge and start living with full presence. Let this be the day you choose clarity over compulsion, purpose over pleasure, discipline over distraction. The Stoics would be proud, not because you follow their philosophy, but because you embody their spirit. If this message resonates with something deep inside you, consider subscribing to Stoic Focus, not for likes, not for views, but because this journey is easier when we walk it together. Your path to mastery has already begun. Now keep walking,